When Senator and Democratic presidential candidate Elizabeth Warren laid out her proposal to fund her Medicare for All plan, it included the elimination of the Overseas Contingency Operations Fund, which she called a slush fund. You may be wondering what that has to do with development. While the Overseas Contingency Operations Fund, or account, otherwise known as OCO, was originally created to fund the Department of Defense, it has over the years been used to fund a significant portion of the international affairs budget for the United States. In fiscal year 2019, nearly 15%, or $8 billion, of the international affairs budget was funded through OCO. In past years, it has been an even higher amount. OCO has had a lot of detractors over the years, and Warren is certainly not alone. Democrats and Republicans alike have criticized the mechanism. Notably, acting White House Chief of Staff and the head of the Office of Management and Budget, Mick Mulvaney, has called the use of OCO a budget gimmick. And while many agree it's not the most efficient way for allocating the budget, it has become a critical tool for appropriators in maintaining the international affairs budget, particularly in the currently challenging budget environment. Part of the reason for this is that OCO funding, which is considered emergency funding, isn't subject to the strict budget caps that have been placed on discretionary spending. And budget experts say that it would be nearly impossible to maintain current spending levels for the international affairs budget if OCO was eliminated all at once. Initially, OCO was called Global War on Terror Funding, and it was a fund set up after 9/11 with the purpose of helping the Department of Defense have more flexible funding to fund the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. In fiscal year 2012, the administration first requested the use of OCO funds for use in the international affairs budget, particularly to fund the work of USAID and the State Department in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. In that first year, those funds also went to support USAID and State Department programs in Yemen, in Kenya, in Somalia, and in the Philippines. And over the years, the definition and use of OCO has clearly evolved. It has been used to help fund the response to the earthquake in Haiti in 2010, the 2013 Ebola outbreak in West Africa, 2015 global response to the Zika virus. To date, about $162 billion have been spent through OCO for the international affairs budget. And today, it covers things that probably wouldn't have been considered within the original realm of what OCO funding should support, which was really supposed to be emergency funding. For example, some of USAID's operating expenses are now paid through OCO funding, and some of the State Department's Economic Support Fund expenses are also covered through OCO. And a few years ago, we also saw more than 50% of the humanitarian aid budget of the US government be funded through OCO. And that raised some alarms for humanitarian advocates, worried that if such a large proportion of the budget was funded through these temporary or emergency funds, that it would be difficult to sustain long-term funding. While the debate about OCO is likely to remain controversial, for now, it continues to be an important part of how the US government funds development work. For more about the US budget process and the latest on aid funding, stay tuned to Devex.